Okay, picture this. You're walking through your garden, right? And you can actually understand what your plants are trying to tell you.
Like, really understand, not just like, oh, it needs more water.
Exactly. Decoding their communication.
Whoa.
Sounds like sci-fi, right? But, well, some really incredible AI advancements mean we're getting closer to that reality than you might think.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be doing a deep dive today
Mm-hmm.
into this revolutionary AI model. It's called PlantRNA-FM.
PlantRNA-FM. I like it.
Catchy.
So, we're going to explore how it works, what it's already revealing, and just the mind-blowing implications this could have for all of us.
Yeah, it's pretty wild stuff.
Buckle up.
You ready?
I'm ready.
So, I mean, you already know DNA, right? It's like the blueprint of life.
Yeah.
Well, RNA, think of it kind of like the construction crew
Oh, okay.
carrying out those instructions from the blueprint.
Gotcha.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The shape of that RNA molecule, it also influences how those DNA instructions are carried out.
So it's not just the sequence, but the structure.
You got it. It's like reading a list of ingredients versus seeing a chef turn them into a gourmet meal.
Okay, I like that analogy.
For years, scientists have been trying to crack this, like, RNA language
Mm-hmm.
without much success, like staring at hieroglyphics.
You see the symbols, but...
Yeah, you can't understand the story.
Got it.
And this is where PlantRNA-FM comes in. This is the AI that is finally breaking the code.
Really?
Yeah.
How does this AI actually learn to understand, like, plant language?
So PlantRNA-FM is trained on this massive data set
Okay.
of RNA data from over 1,100 plant species.
Wow. So it's...
Imagine like a superpowered ChatGPT, but instead of learning our language, it's learning the language of plants.
That is a lot of data, right, to process.
Oh, yeah. We're talking 54 billion pieces of RNA information.
54 billion.
54 billion.
Wow.
And that massive scale, that's what lets it spot patterns, make predictions about RNA functions that humans just couldn't.
I can see how that would be really helpful.
It's like having this incredibly powerful search engine that can scan, the whole genetic makeup of over 1,000 plant species.
And find connections.
Connect the dots between specific RNA structures and what they actually do.
This is like we are stepping into a sci-fi movie.
I know, right?
So if we can really get to the point where we understand what plants are saying at, like, a molecular level,
Yeah.
the possibilities are kind of endless. What are some of the exciting early discoveries that PlantRNA-FM is already showing us?
Well, researchers are using it to make really accurate predictions about RNA functions.
Okay.
It can look at a specific RNA molecule structure and be like, hey, this looks like it plays a key role in photosynthesis, or this one helps the plant deal with stress.
So it's not just theory.
No. These predictions are confirmed through experiments.
Wow.
Like, scientists have used it to identify RNA structures that regulate how genes are expressed when there's a drought.
Okay.
And by manipulating those structures, they were able to actually make a plant more drought tolerant.
Wait, so, like, we're talking about engineering crops that can withstand harsh conditions.
Yeah.
That has massive implications for agriculture, right?
Especially in a world facing climate change. This is huge.
This is incredible.
And it goes back to understand that RNA language. If we know how the shape of these molecules influences how a plant behaves,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we can, like, literally speak to plants on a molecular level, guide their growth and development.
This is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You've just, like, scratched the surface of this revolutionary technology.
Oh, totally. And the team behind PlantRNA-FM is already working on, get this, even more advanced AI to decipher DNA.
DNA, wow.
Yeah, the source code of life.
That's a whole other deep dive.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to get to that later.
So we're starting to see how understanding plant communication at this level, it could lead to some incredible breakthroughs.
For sure. And I think one of the most promising areas is agriculture.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, we can talk to our crops,
Right.
We could actually understand their needs in real time.
So instead of reacting to problems, we prevent them.
Yeah, we could optimize growing conditions, use resources more efficiently, maybe even, like, minimize the need for harmful pesticides.
That's huge, especially as the climate changes and agriculture is getting more challenging.
It is. And, it goes beyond making current farming practices more efficient.
Oh, okay.
We could design entirely new crops tailored to specific needs.
Designer crops, that sounds like a sci-fi movie.
Right.
What kind of, like, designer crops are we talking about?
Well, imagine plants that can thrive in really tough environments.
Yeah.
Like drought-stricken regions or areas with really bad soil.
Okay.
This could be a game changer for food security, especially in communities hit hardest by climate change.
So like engineering plants that are more resilient.
Exactly. But there's more. Imagine crops that produce food that's way more nutritious, or plants that can actually absorb more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere.
To combat climate change. Wow, the potential is incredible. But, let's play devil's advocate for a second. What about the risks? Messing with the genetic code of plants, even if we have good intentions, could backfire, right?
That's such an important point, and it's why this research needs to be done carefully with really strict ethical guidelines.
Right.
We need to think about the potential ecological impacts before releasing any genetically modified anything into the environment.
It's not just about what we can do, but what we should do.
Exactly. This tech gives us a ton of power, and with that comes a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We have to make sure we use it wisely.
For the benefit of everyone.
Everyone, not just a select few.
Right. That's a really important point.
For sure. This is a powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be used for good, but it can also be used for bad. So it's really up to us to make sure that we use this wisely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think that something as tiny as like the shape of a molecule could have such a huge impact on how we do agriculture.
And, how we interact with the whole natural world.
Totally. And speaking of impact, this tech could go way beyond agriculture, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, tell me, what other areas could this ability to talk to plants revolutionize?
Well, think about medicine.
Okay.
Throughout history, we've used plants for, healing.
Yeah, like aspirin.
Exactly. Aspirin's from willow bark.
Mm-hmm.
And Taxol, it's a powerful cancer drug, comes from the Pacific yew tree.
Right. So many incredible medicines have come from plants.
There's centuries.
Yeah.
And if we can actually understand how plants make these compounds at a molecular level, the possibilities are insane. We could potentially engineer plants to make totally new compounds.
With specific, properties to help us.
Therapeutic properties, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like having a tiny pharmaceutical factory inside the plant.
Wow. And we wouldn't just be limited to copying existing medicines.
Nope. We could design plants to produce compounds that target specific diseases.
That's amazing. This opens up a whole new frontier.
It does. What else? What about material science?
Okay.
Imagine plants that can make, biofuels
Yeah.
or biodegradable plastics.
So, more sustainable materials.
Exactly. Reducing our reliance on fossil fuels.
It sounds like we're on the edge of a bio-based revolution.
I think we are. And it's all thanks to figuring out how to decode this plant language.
It's incredible, but, it's still early days, right?
It is. We still have challenges to overcome.
What are some of the hurdles? What are scientists working on?
Well, the AI models, they're still being developed.
Yeah.
PlantRNA-FM is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's not perfect. We need to make it even more accurate and expand its capabilities.
So basically, we need to teach it to speak even more fluently.
Yeah, in the language of plants.
Mm.
That means we need more data, more research, and more time.
That makes sense. So understanding RNA is just one piece.
It is.
It's not like we're going to be chatting with our houseplants anytime soon.
Probably not. But researchers are making huge strides every day.
True. So who knows what the future holds?
Exactly. It's super exciting, but also a little daunting.
Yeah, the potential impact is massive.
It is. And, as these advancements continue, it's really important to have open conversations about the ethical side of things, too.
Absolutely.
This technology gives us so much power, and we have to make sure it's used for good, for the benefit of humanity and the planet.
This is definitely a field to watch closely.
I couldn't agree more. This research is moving fast, and the discoveries, they really have the potential to change everything.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the tiny details of RNA to the huge potential of plant communication.
Yeah.
We've barely scratched the surface.
Totally. But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a question.
Ooh, I like it. Go ahead.
Imagine we could fully understand plants. How would that change our relationship with nature?
That's a great question.
It makes us think outside our current limits.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a future where we're not just observing nature.
Yeah.
We're having a back and forth dialogue.
With the plant kingdom.
With the whole plant kingdom.
Yeah.
That's a future I'm really excited to see.
Me too. And who knows? Maybe some of our listeners will be the ones making these breakthroughs.
That's right. You never know where inspiration will come from.
So true. So that brings us to the end of our deep dive into plant communication. And if you want to learn more, we've got links in the show notes.
Links to the original PlantRNA-FM research and some other awesome resources.
Keep those brains buzzing, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive into something equally mind-blowing.
Stay curious, keep learning, And who knows what amazing discoveries we'll make together.
It's wild to imagine, like, actually having conversations with plants at a molecular level.
Right. It's like straight out of sci-fi.
Totally. But it's becoming more and more real every day.
It really is.
We've talked about how this could totally change agriculture, medicine, even how we make things.
Yeah, material science. The impact is, like, huge.
Mind-boggling, really. Yeah. But we are still in the early stages, right?
Oh, absolutely. We've got this vast potential, but there's still a lot we just don't know about how plants talk to each other.
Yeah.
PlantRNA-FM is a huge step. But it's just the first step.
There's so much more to learn.
So much more.
So before we go, what are the key takeaways? What do you really want listeners to remember from our deep dive?
I think the biggest one is that plants are way more complex than we think.
Okay.
They have these intricate ways of communicating, of interacting with their environment, and we're just starting to understand their language.
It makes you realize how much we still have to learn from nature.
It really does. And, you know, this whole thing about plant communication, it's not just about science.
Right.
It's about realizing that plants could help us solve some of the biggest problems we face.
It's about working with them to build a better future.
Exactly. And that leads me to our final thought for today.
Ooh, lay it on me.
Imagine a world where we can truly listen to plants.
Yeah.
Understand what they need, and then work with them in harmony. What would that world look like?
That's a powerful question.
How would our lives be different? I want everyone listening to really think about that, you know?
It's up to all of us to use this knowledge wisely, to shape a future where everyone thrives.
Humans and nature together.
Well said. That's our deep dive into the world of plant communication. We hope you enjoyed it.
If this got you thinking, check out the show notes. We've got links to the PlantRNA-FM research and other resources.
Keep those brains buzzing, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive into something equally amazing.
Stay curious, everyone.